theft for free.
Yeah, I got $500 is what I owed. I was like, what the fuck? Last year I didn't, and I get the most taken out. It was really weird. I put 0 down, so that usually means that you get shit taken out, so you should get a refund.
No.
So I don't know what happened.
No, 0 is the least amount taken out.
Yeah.
Wait. Damn.
When you hit 0, that's when you don't want any.
What I would do when I wanted the biggest.
Okay, thank you.
How is that wrong?
So 0 is that you are not holding on to any of the money for the taxes. So 0 is the most possible for a refund.
Whoa, that's got to be opposite because I used to put $25.
Let's look it up.
Like an extra $25 from the Fed and from the state, and I used to get bigger tax returns. And now my last one was like
because I thought if you put 1, that means the dependents that you have, and you're getting less.
All right, Mike, let's look this up.
1 doesn't always refer
wrong.
to dependents.
Okay.
You can ask for extra money to be withheld. I just filled out tax forms, and it did say, is there any additional cost that you would like withheld?
By placing a 0 on line 5, you're indicating that you want the most amount of tax taken out of your pay each pay period.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so you are keeping.
Yep. That's what I see, and that's
That's
what
crazy though, because I used to keep more and get less back, or get more back, and now I keep less, but get less back.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense.
You know what, dude? Fuck the federal government. Anyways.
I agree.
This fucking guy, dude. He fucking came on my post like a fucking leftist, dude. When I shared Chris Moore's post talking about like the only way to really start fixing this problem is to end the Fed, and this dude's like, oh yeah, it's too bad Trump will never do that. I'm just like, that's like the same fucking idiots. Like I'll name call on this one, like this Miguel dude. Right? He just irritates the fuck out of me.
Hey, Irish.
He's always I deleted him. He's always just laugh reacting at my Facebook comments when they're political, but he's never responding. And the only reason he's not friends with me on Facebook anymore is because he fucking always was just bitching about bitches. Oh, women. Oh, they didn't treat me right. Oh, it's like, dude, men do fucking women terrible all the time. And you're gonna sit here and cry because women are doing bad to you. This is how it goes. This is an age-old conflict that will continue. But I know he's that type of guy that's like, oh yeah, with how bad Israel is, it's Trump's fault. If you are so stupid that you don't think, or that you do think that Israel and like the power that the U.S. is giving them is Trump's fault, I don't even want to speak to you.
I mean, right now it is, though. He's the one that's
because he's the fucking president.
Well, yeah, that's my point.
So are you telling me that if Kamala was president,
it would be her fault, too, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be her fault.
Exactly. So, no, it's not their fault.
It's still their fault.
It's the fault. It's not.
They're still the one initiating it.
And so there
you
go,
the
continuing to make the president a scapegoat. That is what you're doing. You're making the U.S. president a scapegoat. Like there's
not a scapegoat, but
hundreds of more people that go into this.
Okay, dude. If a company started doing something really immoral and really shitty, would you put that on the CEO or would you put that on other people?
Depends how much is the CEO doing. How much control do they have?
They have all the control. They're the CEO.
What do they
do? They make the executive decision at the end of the day. They make the policies.
CEOs, things shift when it comes to shareholders, when it comes to the president of the company. Sometimes there can be multiple CEOs.
I mean, sure, but like if you're starting the company and like let's say you give that power away to other people, and like they make bad decisions, that's still your fault because you started the company.
The point is though, this was going to happen regardless.
That's a fair point, but it's like the argument with like the Iowa government, how like people will say like, oh, like Kim Reynolds is doing all these things, but like it's really not her fault. It's really the Republican base's fault. But like, no, she's still the one that's like signed the executive orders and really putting these things into practice. And the president is that same thing. So I agree with what you're saying, like in the terms of like, no matter who would have been in there, Israel would have been attacked. That's definitely fair. But I think it's also fair to say that person is still responsible because they're the one that's They're the one that's like Trump's making the executive orders and like making these.
And if it wasn't him, it would be somebody else.
That doesn't
so
mean
it's
not
the
his
U.S.
fault.
government that's at fault, and the Israeli government that's at fault.
But who?
Not just one person. When you circle it up and you're like, oh, it's Trump's fault. Now everybody in Congress, everybody in the Israeli government gets to slide away.
No,
swept under the rug.
You can have multiple people at fault.
Yeah, you can, but the general public is fucking dumb. You know that. So if you say it's Trump's fault, they're all going to blame one guy. And now it's just going to, they already hate him.
Well,
so they're just going to feed
that's
their.
That's not my problem.
I think that.
How is it not your problem? So how does the problem get solved? Why even speak about it? Because if you blame one guy, nothing's going to get solved.
That's not true. Well,
how is it not? So you remove Trump from office, you put Kamala in, and then we still support Israel.
I blame Trump, but I also blame the government. Like it's a multifaceted thing. Like yes, it's the government, it's the system, like but like I said, he's the one that's
the leader, so that's who you're gonna blame. And a lot of people are upset right now, not only because of the tariffs, it's fucking businesses, so people are mad about that and like changing their minds.
I mean,
the stock
that
market's crashing, so it's like the Israel thing too. You're gonna blame him, but he's just gonna take the full frontal blame for everything right now because of how hated he is.
But I think it's warranted because he's the he's the one that's running the show.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that. I think that the president is the one, but I think I agree with that it's not going to be changed unless you take out the deeper lying issues.
Yes, I agree with that as well.
The deeper lying issues are what's going to solve the problem, not just taking the president out of office.
I don't think any one U.S. president has ever run the show. Maybe very, very early.
Was JFK running the show?
Maybe like super, super early. Apparently not.
He was trying. I think he was trying to run the show.
Exactly. What happens? You and your family get killed?
Well, not a single person is running the show, but multiple people who are running the show all have the same vested interests.
But also, that's the point of our government, is that a president's not supposed to just be running the show. It's like there's branches of government.
Exactly. You got Congress as well. So it's like, we're not eating up Congress. There's a guy that goes around on Instagram, and I'm sure he's on TikTok and shit too. I don't even know his name. I just see his videos all the time. And he'll go up to U.S. congressmen and he'll be like, hey, do you support Israel more than the U.S. government? And none of these people will give a legitimate, simple answer.
Yeah.
Like, do you support Israel over the United States? Simple question. Don't bring all the extra details into it. And they'll be like, well, Israel is a great friend of ours. Okay. That's like if you ask me, hey, who would you die for first? Would you die to save your mom or to save Blythe? Because Blythe's my best friend. And I'm like, obviously my mother. Obviously.
She's
There's
older.
no hate
what
to
the
you.
Fuck? I've got more life ahead of me.
Yeah, but that's my mother, you know.
Women and children first.
And we have a great relationship as mother and son as well.
I'm a child.
So it's like I'm obviously gonna. And if I chose you every time, and I was like, oh yeah, well my mother's this, my mother's that, and I chose you. Now, if we had a bad relationship, yes, that's fair. It would be a completely different argument, but we don't.
Yeah.
So we're putting the hypothetical only in the realm of what would I choose in the scenario that I'm in. I would choose my mother. That would be my U.S. That would be my United States. Whereas Blythe would be my Israel.
No, I see what you're saying. Like
Fuck. Oh, fuck. I don't like this analogy. This analogy sucks. Next topic.
I mean, it makes sense.
He's got too small of a nose.
Whoa.
No, I see what you're saying. Well, and like I think that's kind of just ultimately the problem with government and politics in general is like those people, like when you ask a politician that question, they will never answer it in good faith because they don't have to, because they will remain in power no matter what. You could have every single person.
Sorry.
You could have every single person like in the country, like maybe not every single person. You could have a large group of people, a large majority of the people be against the system and be against them, and they will still remain in power to some extent. Or at the very least, their interests will remain in power.
I disagree, because I think you need to look into more people that have spoken out against Israel. see if they end up in power again their next term.
I think they will. 100%.
After speaking out against Israel. Maybe now. In the past, statistically, no, they don't. They speak out against Israel. They're no longer in office.
I thought you were saying the other way around.
No, yeah.
But
so it's like, so that's a very, very large issue that tells you, I mean,
but that almost
if the
proves
president's not for us, you can't tell me that Congress is for us.
No, I agree. I 100% agree. But like that almost like proves my point, I feel like, in a way, because like if you were to look at the entirety of the U.S., like, do you think there's a majority support for Israel or against Israel? I think you'd probably be willing to bet against Israel, right?
No.
You really don't?
When it comes to social media, yes. But a lot of these older people, and I'm around these older people every day, they got big support for Israel.
I think it's pretty
There's a lot
split,
of very
but
religious people in the United States. A lot.
That's fair. The religious part does play into it.
And you're thinking like, we're all like 30, you know, and there's a few years ahead of us that would agree with us. But that 40 plus range, I mean, I would say probably 90% of them are for Israel.
You think 40 plus?
40 plus? Yeah, I'd say a large percentage, because I'd say if you only said 70 plus, it's like super close to 100%. I mean, all these people I talk to in a restaurant every morning, and when these things come up, because we got a TV in there that plays the news, they're all for Israel. Well, yeah, but I support Israel because they've always been a good friend to us, which they haven't. And then it's a religious belief. Well,
Yeah.
they have a religious reason for this.
They tie it into Christianity. And
Yeah.
like,
I call them out right there too. I don't give a fuck whose business it is. I'm like, so children, innocent men, innocent women dying is okay because this war has religious reason? Doesn't sound very religious to me. Doesn't sound very much like love thy neighbor to me.
Yeah, but I mean, again, similar to politics, they don't have to think about it. They just they do what they're told, and that's it. Like they are fed a certain information from that group, like the church or the Christian population or whatever, and they don't have to think about it.
So it's all of their fault. It's the government's fault. If you take it and you just simply put it as this is Trump's fault, nothing's gonna change. Literal zero.
I see your point. I definitely see your point. Like,
I'm not saying that he's not at fault at all.
but like, just
I'm saying it's all of their fault.
no, and I think like if that had been like, I would have given that answer eventually. Like, I think I just kind of like was like, yeah, this won't happen under Trump. But like, I mean, you know me, I'm an anarchist. Like, you know, Trump's at fault, but also the whole fucking thing is at fault. Like, yeah, that's definitely true.
Dude, this guy, in the time of this podcast, went from libertarian to anarchist. I've watched the downhill spiral that led him to this, dude. I've seen it week after week.
You know what it really was? It was the thing that was always holding me back from becoming a full-blown anarchist was like the idea of children, right? Because like in an anarcho-capitalist society, if there were no laws, like, it is probably true that like, because there's no protections for children, like that group of people could be, you know, for lack of a better term, like that malicious things could happen to them, right? But then I guess I kind of thought about it, I was like, okay, well, does the law prevent that? Like, really? Like, maybe it prevents it to some scale, but like that still happens. Like, that still happens plenty, even though we have a law.
To be fair, the laws that we make aren't as much to prevent things from happening as they are when you get caught doing these things.
Well, yeah.
Now you have to face consequences.
Well, yeah, exactly. And I read this book called The Anarchist Handbook, and it really like broke down like, okay, like I always say, like, it sounds really good to say like, we're going to put restrictions on this, we're going to stop people from doing this, but when you break it down, like, okay, what actually happens when you do that? It's not at all, it doesn't equate at all to like that idea that like we're actually going to prevent things. It's just a punishment mechanism that, like, you know, and then like the elites can like think of like speeding tickets, right? Like, if someone is poor and gets a speeding ticket, that's going to fuck up their week. If somebody's fucking running cash and they get a ticket, like, whatever, fuck.
I mean, how much were they speeding?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't, like, whatever amount.
Disagree.
Whatever amount it is, that's not going to affect someone who's wealthy versus someone who's poor. Like, and that's why the law is always going to skew towards the elite. It's always like it's going to skew in favor of the elites and the rich. Think of like our government officials, right? The horrible things they've done. They will never see a prison cell ever
because they have the money to pay for good lawyers.
Exactly. Yes.
When
Exactly.
we talked previously, when I think Gabe was on here, that's why I was like, dude, we need to cut their fucking salaries. We need to cut their on average.
That would be a great step.
Can you look up on average how much a U.S. congressman or woman makes annually?
It's got to be six figures.
I think it's $174,000 if I'm correct.
Yeah,
that's a lot of fucking money to make when you're getting free room and board, free travel. I mean, you essentially get free vacations.
Oh, that's for vice president. Still, $284,000 or $4,000, $600 or $600.
Damn, that goes back to 1789. Wait, can we pull that up again, the Wikipedia?
Yeah, let's just scroll.
Because in 1789, to be fair, inflation and things.
Yeah.
$147.
Yeah. You know, I'm reading a book right now about George Washington.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, 174.
So it did go up and then it came back down. But yeah, $174,000. As I said, that's crazy that I had that on the button. Go me. But it's like, why do you need to make that much money to be a U.S. congressman or woman?
You don't. That's a simple answer. Is you don't. Like, if you're truly a public servant, like, there's no way you should be making the same figure as like someone who, like, I don't know, is like a doctor or like contractor or something like that, right? Like somebody who actually like provides something for the community.
Well, technically, they're supposed to be providing something to the community.
Sure, but this goes back to my point. Like, they're supposed to, but they don't.
Yep, and also though too. So if I think there's very minimal. But I do think there are people that are actually like fighting for their people truly in our government.
Sure, I'm not.
And I could see, like, we had one of them here. Maybe we should do that. Invite a congressman to the podcast.
What was that?
But if they were like,
I would love to. Honestly,
if they said something to me along the lines of like, well, yeah, but there's a lot of people that disagree with the side of the aisle that we're on and where we live. It's like, my wife having a job where she's open to the public could be dangerous. My kid going to a public school could be dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, okay, I get that as a fair argument. But like, your wife she has the ability to work from home, to fucking get a job where she's not open to the public. I mean, there's things like that you can do. And I'd say $60K is a pretty fair wage. You know, I can live my life, afford housing and afford things at like $35,000 a year. So if you're making $60K as one income, I mean, if she gets a job working part-time and brings in $25,000 to $35,000 a year, you guys are making good money.
Yeah. I think something else, sorry, I'm not trying to cut anybody off. Something else you also have to consider, though, is like that whole, like that $60,000 figure. A lot of that is influenced because of that same government system, because of inflation. Like, you know, you go back to the, what was it, $6 they were making? Like the whole reason it went on the up at the very top.
1789.
That's 140.
1789, they were making $6.
Oh, salary was $6.
Yeah, but the reason it went from $6 to $174,000 is because of inflation, because of government. So that same mechanism is what is determining that dollar amount. I
get that to a degree, but also, like, when you read about like George Washington and when he became president, it's like I don't remember if it even got paid, but if he did, it was a very low amount of money, and that's because it keeps integrity.
Well, he also didn't need to get paid because he had a whole, like, he had like 3 different plantations. Like, George Washington came from a very wealthy family.
Regardless of whether you came from wealth or not, this is not the job that should be giving you wealth.
I agree. Yes,
you
100%.
shouldn't be guaranteed into wealth just because you became the president. Did they get paid for life?
I don't know, but like if you're a president, all you have to do is write a book and you're set for life. Like, you write a book, you make money from the book, then you like go on like tours and tours of speeches, and like that you make basically the same amount. It
Can
actually
we look that
more
up though?
usually.
How like does a president?
And they get Secret Service for life.
I wouldn't even know how to.
That cuts out costs for them. I don't know. Oh, they do pay a taxable pension. Former presidents receive a pension equal to the salary of a cabinet secretary. It was $219,000 per year, and since January 22, $226,000 per year. Holy
So they're making
shit.
that annually just because they were president.
$1 million in 4 years.
No
my
fucking
God.
shot.
That is crazy.
No fucking shot. They deserve that. But
Well, go that first article. Joe Biden in line for a $413,000 dual pension payout. Holy shit!
He's like, yo, I'm not gonna be here that much longer. Can you guys just speed this one up for me? It's like,
See, that's
I don't
fucking
have that many
pathetic.
years ahead of
You
me.
get to make almost $500,000 just because you're the president.
Yeah.
You live in the White House that we pay for. What are we doing? And these are the things that don't get brought up. And, you know, when you focus on, oh, it's all this guy's fault or it's all that guy's fault, it pushes you into the next person's fucking field. And, like, you want to talk about something that Democrats and Republicans together could get behind, I bet it's these motherfuckers making a lot less money.
Yeah. No, I definitely see your point, man. I definitely see and hear your criticism for that response to that post. That makes a lot of sense.
Fuck Israel.
Fuck Israel.
Just wanted to put that.
I love that that's your Facebook cover, by the way.
Yeah.
Just a sign. Fuck Israel.
Yep. I've had some people mention it to me before. Some people with compliments, some people with like, why is that your cover photo? Cause fuck Israel. It's always older people, dude. It's always people like I said, like 40 plus. That are like, I don't get it. Well, yeah, because you watch one news network.
Yeah.
Because they say the things you want to hear.
Yeah, and then like Nate, you were getting into it with Nate the other day. Nate Owen, did you see Coleman and Nate?
Yeah, I got in those comments.
Yeah, you hopped in there, and it's just like, yeah, he's like, yes, I get it. There are both sides of being killed, but also like they got pushed into this. Like before October 7th, they like beat up a bunch of women and children in a mosque because they went over for praying too long.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
They
No,
beat
my
up
friend
Christians
Malik-
over there all the time.
Yeah, my
and
friend
he's
Malik,
Christian.
he is Palestinian, and he just shared a post from 2023, and it was like from the summer, and it was like, yo, Israel just beat up a bunch of women and children because that's all that's allowed in the mosque because they went over their praying time, and they're looking for a response. Like he called it
Jesus.
out. He's like, they're looking for a response, and there's going to be. Hamas isn't just going to sit back and not do anything about like women and children getting beat. So yeah, so it's just been kind of like they've just been pushing it until they finally did fight back and got the excuse. And now they're just massacring people.
To be fair, we talked about this a long time ago, cause and effect. After the attack happened. Hamas is only a thing because of the things that Israel did. ISIS is a thing because of the things that the United States did in the Middle East.
Yep.
That is how these factions came to be.
Exactly.
And a lot of their soldiers, we trained them. We provided guns. We provided ammo. We provided armored vehicles. We taught a lot of these people how to fight under U.S. taxpayer dollars. And now they hate us. And the media has so much control with all these dumbass motherfuckers, especially Christians. United States Christians as a whole are some of the dumbest people in this entire fucking country. Because Israel good. Israel real good. Muslims bad. Jews good. Muslims bad. Right?
Yeah.
They're nearly the same fucking thing. Like when you look it up and you're like, how similar is Judaism to the Muslim religion? It's like super close. I'm pretty sure it's in the 90th percentile. Like I'm pretty fucking positive of that. You could just look up what religion closest relates to Judaism, and it's gonna be Islam. It's gonna be that 100%.
Yeah,
you can look it up if you want to. You don't have to, but I guarantee you that's the answer because I've done it myself. So this tight. Jews good, Muslims bad. Doesn't make any sense. Literally makes zero sense. And it's like this is the definition of just letting the media feed you garbage. It is the definition.
It's also a good excuse for like Christians like to not critical think and just be like religion like that, like that's how they decide what's good and bad instead of using critical thinking, partially with the media too, but that like just kind of feeds off of what they want to be told as well. So yeah, I could see that why some Christians are super dumb is because they don't critical think, because they live by a certain path and don't think really outside the box.
Yeah, well, and similarly to government, like again, like you're not required to think because the religion allows you to do that. Like, okay, we're gonna give you 10 commandments. We're gonna tell you how to feel about this, and like because they know. I think maybe they don't know, but I feel like a large percentage of Christians do know that if they actually took the time to step outside themselves, put themselves in somebody else's shoes, that they would be faced with a wall full of contradictions, hypocrisies, whatever, and they can't face that. They literally can't face that. Something in their brain switches off.
It would crush them. They're like, "This is all I have." I think a lot of these people go through a traumatic experience in their life, and then they find God.
Yep.
Which kind of happened to me at one point in my life. After I went to jail and I got out, I read almost the entire Bible while I was in jail. But I'm more of like a fiction fairy tale type of dude when I'm reading books. I like a good crazy story. Facts though. But I mean, if you read the Bible, there is a lot of positive and beneficial things in the Bible. I will say that, and I would never disagree with that. But the fact that people take all this book of stories and they take it as factual evidence is insane. Well, Jesus died. They stuck him in a cave and he came back to life 3 days later because he died for our sins. I'm like, listen, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that's impossible, right? We just talked about this the last episode. I hate when people say shit's impossible. But you're going to tell me there's no chance we could live on Mars. Sorry to circle back that far. But it's like, I'm just saying, wouldn't the percentage of like this being realistic be very close to the same?
I think it's possible to live on Mars.
So it's like, I guess it
would take an immense amount.
Possible that we have a God. We are the only known fucking, like that's saying like, oh, there's no chance that the earth is flat. It's always been round. And I'm like, could we either? I'm like, when are we going to have more people like myself that are like, could it be though? Could it be? Do we want to sit here and think about in a philosopher mind state? Like, what if? Because they act like religion's right here. God's all around us. All this shit's all around us. But all these other things, when it comes to space exploration and science, impossible, not right, it's incorrect. It's all God. And it just doesn't chalk up.
Yeah, last night when our friend was talking about, he went on, he was just drunk as fuck, but he was like, yeah, and that's how I know the world's flat, because you'd have to like keep moving the point of the plane up or something. He said something like that, and I was like, you know what? I do respect the fact that we don't know what the fuck's going on. That these conspiracies, and like we've never been told the truth about like pretty much anything.
Sure.
And so like we've just got a whole like portion of people who are like just questioning everything, and I respect that. And I don't know if it's true or not. I'm not just going to sit there and argue, because I'm not going to look up the facts myself. I'm not going to go into the scientific research. But Lauren was like, well, why would the scientists lie to us? Why would they tell us the world's round? Like what point does that have? But it's still just like funny to hear like the differing aspects of why people think that.
I just don't see the benefit. So I'm just going to say this real quick. I get some things, like scientists lying about some things, but like he also mentioned the pyramids. I'm like, what's the benefit in them lying about there was people that they found buried there. I mean, pyramids were used for tombs, so that's what they figured it was. And then they come out with a new discovery. They're like, hey, they might not be what we thought. So it's like, where's the actual benefit of them being like, the world's round?
Yeah, I think for something like that, you're right. Like if it's old, for lack of a better term, if it's old news, then like there isn't really a lot of like financial or like beneficiary things to like object to that, right? Or like to I don't know, whatever. But like something like current, like COVID, right? There's all the incentive in the world for scientists to lie to people.
Yep.
Right?
No, I agree with that.
Like I see what you're saying. It definitely depends on the time period for sure. Like current things, yeah, there's all the incentive for them to lie. But like, yeah, the flat Earth, like the pyramids, like, yeah, who really?
And the pyramids is just like they just keep letting stuff out. And like I think you said, Egypt has restrictions on like what you can do, and they keep people from finding out more discoveries.
It's a sacred site to them. And I mean, I guess there could be benefit in them lying about it because then the government gets more of a chance to get ahead of the general public.
More credibility.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, dude, the pyramids are such a mystery. Well, he's like, well, I can tell you they weren't built by slaves. And I'm like, yeah, but that's never been pronounced as really like fact. Like I never got taught, even in school, right? I never got taught, oh, hey, slaves built this. I did get taught, this is what many people think.
Yeah.
But nobody really knows. And I would say the vast majority of scientists have said, oh, I didn't even graduate high school. I took AP history, AP world history, AP US history.
Mm-hmm.
I went deep, dude. I liked it a lot. That's how I knew I was going to become a Republican. White power.
You start reading about World War II, and you're like, okay, this is my destiny.
I've never been as deep as JJ, though, dude. JJ fucking listening to his videos as he went to sleep. I'm telling you, dude, when I would walk into the back room of my apartment, because I'd hear something when I turned my TV off and be like, what is that? Like the first time ever I walked back there, and he's sleeping on a couch. iPad's ahead of him, like up here. And I walk up and look at it. I watch the video for like a whole 30 seconds. It's literally a World War II like informational video. And I'm just like, dude, this guy sleeps, eats, shits, and breathes. This fucking shit right here, dude.
It is a fascinating war.
It's super fascinating. It changed the world. World War I into World War II changed the world. I will say this, though. I don't see much of a difference between the two.
Oh, really?
I feel like collectively it was kind of like World War I. I feel like the general public felt like we came out of World War I, but it was like World War II was right around the corner.
Well, I think objectively a huge difference between World War I and World War II is U.S.'s involvement in it. Like, we didn't really have anything to do with World War I. And World War II
we did come to help, though, did we not? World War I, did we not come to help
towards
in
the
France?
very end.
Yeah.
But, both wars, Britain really took the brunt of it. But, we came out way more on top after World War II than World War I.
Which is true. But, it was kind of... I'm not going to say all of it was Britain's fault. But, a lot of things that people don't think about is how long the British Empire actually lasted.
Yep.
Can we look that up real quick? When did the British Empire end?
It would have been.
Because I think
it would have been right after World War II. Well, it's
right?
never ended. It's still...
In technicality, yeah.
India's independence in 1947, the rise of the Commonwealth of Nations, and the handover of Hong Kong to China in 1997 make the end of the empire's most significant colonial holdings. Oh, wow.
Okay, but when did it end in
They held Hong Kong until 97?
That's crazy.
Yeah, it says during 1997. Oh, man, China's so bad. China hates us for no reason. They're just a bunch of pieces of shits, right, dude?
Yeah.
I didn't even know it was that long. I didn't even know it was that long, dude.
That's
I knew in the British still control. Don't they still control Australia?
That I'm not sure about.
I don't know.
No.
I can't.
Is Australia independent?
Yeah.
I thought they went by the king and queen.
Let's look that up.
I don't know. I don't know much about the Aussies, dude. Well, or can we do this? What territories does Britain still or the UK still control?
Yeah, there we go. But speaking of Great Britain,
finally we got somebody in here that can fucking type, dude.
The UK still controls 14 overseas territories, including Anguilla, Bermuda, the British, the Caribbean, South Atlantic, Indian Ocean. So about 14.
Okay, so they don't go by the king and queen there. They're independent, but still the British Empire was fucking big.
Oh, the Turks.
They
still have the Turks.
They controlled a lot of shit. You know what this makes me think about, dude? My fucking Christian ass uncle. That fucking was Dude, he has the weirdest side. I had never even heard this side of the argument from people before. But like, colonizing Africa was like essentially a good thing. Like, yeah, there's bad things that happened. But
Yeah,
he's like,
I've heard that argument.
I mean, he's like, dude, these people had no running water and things like that. And it's like, oh, they had no running water, but they were living just fine. Oh, they were fighting wars and killing each other.
Or that they were cannibals.
Don't we do that now? Don't people all over the U.S. kill each other? And he has this thing like he thinks they wanted us to go there.
That is a very like old school Christian mentality.
Super
It's like
old. I was like, dude, are you fucking nuts? I'm like,
insane.
they labeled it. Belgium, the Netherlands, France, Spain, and Britain were big ones too. They literally took this as open land because it had not been claimed, just like the U.S. The Native Americans lived here, Mexicans lived here, but they hadn't claimed the land. They traveled around and they lived off of it and they respected it. And it's like, oh, okay, so we came here. We told them they needed to become Catholic. We told them they needed to become Christian. We told darker-skinned people that lighter-skinned people were their enemies. We forced them, or not forced them, but paid them very minuscule amounts of money to do things like build railroads and work in mines where people died all the time and didn't have enough money to fucking cure them. So we didn't ship medicine out there, that's for damn sure, you know? So we built all these railroads. And then when they left and gave these things back to these people, something that really destroyed Africa is that when these countries would take over these territories and leave, they now fought over the railroads. And it caused separation. Oh, so we're all, let's say, fucking Sudan. We'll just throw a random fucking one out there. I don't know the details of actual Sudan. Point is, let's say they left. And they had a railroad, major railroad that went right through the middle of it. Now the people on the east and the people on the west, that was opposite, they fight each other for control of the railroad. And it's like, how the fuck do you live in such a small bubble that you don't realize that was a bad thing? You went to a place where people lived and you were like, well, this is unclaimed territory, so it is ours now.
Yeah, well, you guys are familiar with Matt Walsh, right? The guy who did the Was Not a Woman.
Love Matt Walsh.
That was, well, this was one area that he got, like, a lot of people criticize him for, is he is pro-colonization. Like, he makes the argument that, like, Christians gave a moral compass to those countries that they didn't have. Like, they brought, like, see if you can find that clip. Matt Walsh, colonization. This shit's crazy.
I wouldn't disagree that there wasn't any benefit to African people. I'm not going to sit here and say there was zero benefit. Just like when it comes to Afghanistan and Iraq. Okay? You're like, you can't tell me that there was zero. But we did more bad than good.
Just hit that short. We're not going to watch. We're not going to watch the full 10 minutes. Shit, my bad. It's muted.
Yeah.
You want to restart and... Awesome, thank you so much.
Right after I gave you compliments.
European colonialism has been one of the greatest forces for good that the world has ever seen. Billions of people today are living better lives than they would have lived had Europeans not colonized the globe. The colonizers spread civilization, they spread the gospel, they spread innovation, they spread important ideas, such as the idea that you shouldn't murder your children to appease the sun god, that you shouldn't eat your enemies to absorb their life. Did the colonizers also spread dairy products?
Crazy.
I don't know, but I'm happy to add that to the list of triumphs.
If you watch like the
I
Vikings,
didn't even hear it mostly because
if you watch the Vikings series though, and you find out how much random coincidence is based off of a fucking rich fucking king or queen, what they wanted to happen, or like they cheated, or like somebody died because of just what like they wanted to happen, and they did it for God. It's just like, yo,
dude, the bit about him, like them not killing their kids in the Bible, one of the first stories is Abraham. God tells him you have to kill your kid. Oh, I guess at the very end he told him, hey, no, you're not supposed to do that. But like, are you fucking kidding me?
But,
Christianity is retarded, dude. These guys,
which is true. Now, like I said, let me start with this. We did more bad than good. But can you disagree with the fact that there was some good that probably came out of this?
even if that's true, it doesn't matter because it's like the same
Because
argument
it's
with
mostly
government.
bad.
Well, sure, but like
Yeah.
I mean, it's predicated on the same idea of like why government's bad is because it's taken by force.
Exactly.
So if it's taken by force, if any good comes out of that, like who cares?
Sometimes not even taken by force, taken by tricks.
Yeah,
Taken
coercion.
by tricks.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like, oh, okay, we came on here. Hey, we control this now, right? And now it's like, holy fuck, we don't have to walk a mile from our village through this dangerous African territory to get ourselves fresh water, right? Because they brought the water to us or they brought the food to us, right? So now it's like, it's what's the fucking thing when you like when somebody older knows like a young person grooming. It's like grooming.
yeah.
It's just that. You groom them to be in your hands, to be in your power, right? And now it's like, hey, these guys are trying to come after us. So you send them to die, and now they're so weak they have no choice but to let you just take over.
Yeah, well, and think about this too. Like back in that time, like the considered age of adulthood was way younger than 18. It was like 12, 13, 14. So like it's very possible that like a bunch of
long enough.
yeah, but like a bunch of like young people.
Because you didn't live long enough.
To be like, you're an adult, like you're half your life, bro.
Hey, it's still that way in Mexican culture, dude. You're a man and you hit 15, your mom ain't gonna tell you shit on what to do.
Yeah,
She
but
ain't
those
gonna tell you nothing.
But my point is, like, those people are probably more culpable to be, or not culpable, but like more easily tricked because they're not like the mature age of like we are, or like, you know, not that we're necessarily mature, but we're probably more mature than like a 12-year-old.
I mean, I think we're very mature in a lot of ways, dude.
Sure, yeah.
If we were at a public spot right now and you saw something wrong happen, would you not stand up for it? You're a person who doesn't believe in violence. Yeah. Somebody might actually try to fight you that you're not even prepared to fight. But I still truly believe that you would be like, hey, dude, what you're doing right now is fucking wrong. And I know it's wrong. Like you got mad at somebody because they were staring at you, and so you slap them and then you slap their girlfriend. It's not right. You and your girlfriend are in an argument because you're drunk, so you hit her. Or you're yelling at the bartender, calling them a bitch because they cut you off. It's just simply not right. It's not right for you to act like these things were causing you to act more negative. So we tried to stop the situation. And so now you bring more negative into it. I mean, you can feel it in your soul. They have these studies with babies. When people walk in the room, they have a study that I watched. Babies playing with toys, having a great time, being super creative. They're clearly happy. You can feel the frequency. You can feel the energy even through the video. Somebody walks in the room. They're quiet, but they close the door a little hard, and they walk in the room, and they sit down like, no, I'm fine. When somebody asks what they are, and the kid stops playing with the toys. And I mean, this is a baby, not just a toddler or a child. This is a baby, and they stop playing with it, and they're like, you know? And as these people talk, and this person gives aggression back, that baby's very reserved now. It's not playing with the toys, the creation's gone, and they're kind of worried. Before they even know what worrying is, they're like, am I doing something? Should I do this? You know, like what's going on right now? And that's a very important thing that they think, oh, just because you're a baby, that's why they think that way. It's like, no, when you get older, dude. My nephew, I was like, yeah, I mean, like, I don't think he really knows me like my other nephew knows me, but it's probably an age gap. But I'm about to leave, and then he starts crying. And he turns around and holds his arms out to me. And I pick him up and hold that baby. And I was like, dang, I didn't even realize I did wrong right there. But now I'm more educated. He understands me more than I ever thought. And the nigga just turned 2. You know what I mean? And it's like, that shit's important. That goes, it goes all throughout age. Doesn't matter your age. You can feel these feelings, and you are born with some type of moral compass is what I believe. And, I mean, that's fucked. People are fucked with the way they do shit. And then support it. They're like, yeah, we did good things. Oh, yeah, you did 5 good things for the 5,000 bad things you did, but it's okay because you did some good. You spread Christianity throughout a continent, not a country, a fucking continent that didn't necessarily even want it and had their own religions and own ways of life to abide by.
Yep.
And you came and changed it. What if they never colonized Africa and Africa was the most prosperous country or continent ever?
Oh, Africa would be on top of the world. I mean, they were wealthy. There was a point in time where like Africa was like the shit, like 1200s, 1400s.
You know what I hate to say?
What?
Guns were a huge problem. Guns were a huge problem because they were over here with bows and spears, dude, on animals with spears and shit. And then they came in with guns and explosives, and they were like, "What the fuck is this shit, dude?" But I mean, it's the same thing as like, it was probably 2016, the first time I actually ever saw a video from somebody in South Africa, and they were in a city. 2016, and I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "That's a big city right there. That looks nice. Skyscrapers, beautiful buildings, people dressed in nice clothes, briefcases, going to work and shit." And it's like, I didn't know this existed. 2016, not even 10 years ago. Thank you, social media. But for real, I saw this video on Twitter, and it was like, bro, and that's when I started diving in. We had this conversation with Jackson in a fantasy football group chat once. And I realized when I was talking to him, he didn't realize that, like, there was bustling cities in Afghanistan, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Iran. Very broad, bustling cities. I just recently saw a video from the 70s, back in it was either Iran or Saudi Arabia. But I saw a video. They dressed a lot like us. They acted a lot like us, you know? I mean, end of the day, we're all human beings.
Sure.
And some people take their shit too righteously, too extreme. But end of the day, we're all human beings. And that shit, we fucked a lot of shit up.
Yeah, no, and like Saudi and those countries over there, they've really like boomed over like the last 20 years. Like you see pictures of their cities now, and like just like their technology and shit. Like they've completely progressed as a people, and I think it's helped. Like they're getting into a lot of business wise, like sports and entertainment, and like throwing because they've got endless amounts of oil money.
Sure.
So they're just throwing that, and I think that's helped also progress them and progress their morals and values a little bit, because we have girl wrestlers go over there in WWE. They have an event over there every year, and they're not allowed to show skin yet, but I think it's gotten better. They've been able to have like main events. They had the first women's main event there, I think either last year or the year before. So I mean, they're progressing over there as well, which is good.
Definitely. Well, there is something to be said about, like, think about like the Revolutionary War, right? Like there was like a big part of the reason why Britain didn't like come back later and take over America is because in the British population, they really liked what America was doing. They really liked the idea that, oh, hey, they're actually like it's not this monarchy system. They have like this government that is for the, quote unquote, for the people. And like that was a popular idea. So then Britain had no choice but to be like, okay, we got to kind of fold to that. And
continue. No, I want to say something next.
That's it. That's all. That's it.
Well,
really.
Let's just not forget that a lot of these wars in the Middle East were an Israeli idea.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, I need a good stretch in me. Just saying, dude. The plan of the 7 wars. If you're watching this, you never heard it, dude. Syria?
Let's find it, by the way. I think it's General MacArthur.
Syria, Libya, Lebanon, Somalia. Black Hawk Down. I just watched that movie last night.
7
Iraq,
wars, 5 years plan.
Iran.
Just type that.
And Iran is the last person on the list that we have not entered.
Yeah, that first one right there.
And I was just saying that the other day. Somebody was like, we won't go to war with Iran. I was like, we will if Israel says to. I was like, that'll be if Iran attacks. And like, I was like, that is the next step, and we will go to war with them.
And let me say this. Let me plead with people. Anybody who might watch this, if it gets clipped up, if they try to draft us to help Israel fight a war against Iran, do not go. Take your prison time. Do whatever. Do not go. Fight the government. We don't need it. We don't want it. I mean, those people in Iran, there's bad people there. Yep. There is. There's bad people here.
Yep.
There's good people there. There's good people here.
Yep.
Don't fight it. Not worth it.
I agree. I think that's a noble thing to do. 100%. I mean, it's gonna be hard, but like
I'll go to prison gladly. Yeah. It'll be tough, yeah, but I'll gladly go to prison before I'll go and kill somebody in a culture that I don't know about. To kill somebody's mother or father or daughter or son for an idea that makes no fucking sense outside of money.
Well, I might try to run to Mexico first, but let's.
I'll just tell him I did LSD. Like,
hey, there you go.
Tons.
Well, shit, I am.
If it's a draft, I'm not so sure that's gonna help you.
Damn.
Well, I do. I have that autism, and they don't allow people with autism in the military, so I'd be good.
If it's a draft, new age draft,
They might. It's possible, but
those parameters are gonna be opened up.
that's possible.
All
All right, let's put this in full screen and play this because this is. I feel like a lot of people don't know.
There was
about
regime
this.
change in Syria. What does it mean?
Wesley Clark, the general who
Okay,
headed
actually,
NATO,
let's
went to
exit
the
out of this.
Pentagon
Hold on.
just after
Because
It's
like the
only
original
53
clip is.
seconds.
Okay, fine.
9/11, and famously he was showed a piece of paper that said we're going to have 7 wars in 5 years, and he was completely dumbfounded. He said, "What does this have to do with anything?"
This is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran.
He was told that the neocons and the Israelis are going to remake the Middle East. 7 countries. We've been at war in 6 of them now. And I mean we, the United States, on behalf of Israel, including in Syria. And so what happened in Syria last week was the culmination of a long-term effort by Israel to reshape the Middle East in its image.
And what's their next target? Iran.
That was the last
on the
one,
list.
too.
I think I was wrong on maybe. Wait, did he say Libya in there?
I think so.
Okay, so I was
I
right.
think you're right about that one.
I might have left out Syria and switched it with something else. But I mean, I'm pretty well educated on the topic. I've watched a lot of videos, read a lot of articles, and I've looked up. I don't just watch a video like this and be like, "Oh, that's true." Tucker Carlson said it. I go back, I do my research. You know what I mean? And I do as much research as that Google fucking allows me.
Well, I mean, and that's kind of a thing. That's kind of the caveat to like this kind of information is like, of course they're not like, of course Google and the government is gonna like plainly like give you, oh, here's how to find this document. Like, no, they're gonna do everything they can to hide that shit.
Not just that. Who's Google owned by? Can we look that up real quick? I know YouTube is owned by
Google.
So it's Google.
Yes,
Yep,
YouTube
yep.
owns Google.
And okay, so
Google owns YouTube.
Yes. That's
well,
true.
YouTube's owned by.
Google's owned by Google. That's really helpful.
Okay, who's the CEO of Google?
Not your fault, Molly.
Or just look up this: is the CEO of Google Jewish?
Subsidiary of Alphabet Inc.
Google is Alphabet's largest subsidiary. Sundar Pichai.
He doesn't look very Jewish to me.
LoLo was finally proven wrong. Not everybody is Jewish.
I've been proven wrong a few times. Okay, what was that? The Alphabet.
Find that Alphabet Inc.
Who runs Alphabet Inc.?
Bill Gates. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, it's the same guy.
Some guy. What's his name?
Oh, it says it right there. He's the CEO of Google and Alphabet.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all fucking, and this is the thing people don't realize. It's a very small amount of people who actually run the shit.
Is he Jewish?
Do you guys ever see the meme where it's like early life, like the Wikipedia? It's like always check early life. It says it right there.
Sundar Pichai.
Go Wikipedia right there. Let's see. Pichai was born on June 10th, 1972 in Maduri, Tamil Nadu, India, to a Tamil Hindu family. No, so they were both Hindu, so not Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, Hindu. Hindu is a motherfucker.
Who's paying him, though?
I'm sure BlackRock and Vanguard and State Street all have their hands heavily into these.
Oh yeah.
Maybe not their hands, but their money.
I don't know. I fuck with Google. I'm a Google Pixel guy, you know.
This guy, dude. Him and that fucking Google Pixel phone, dude.
Grok, man. Twitter, that's where the future is.
iPhone, dude. If the Chinese ain't making it, it ain't good.
I love my iPhone. I know that's like the most basic bitch thing you can say, but
they're about to cost a shit ton more.
I don't think so, dude.
Yeah.
I think fucking iPhones are lit. Anyways, I want to bring something up so we can move on from this topic. But we got this. I wouldn't even call him a friend. Whatever. This dude that used to be in a bunch of my fantasy football leagues. His name's Joe, and yesterday he took the win for our fantasy basketball league that half the people in it don't play, and there's no fee, so it wins no money, right? And he said, did he not say though last year? Didn't he say when he said he didn't draft and just set up a queue that he wasn't going to use that as an excuse for not winning? There you go. So the only dude that had experience in this as well used it as an excuse last night. But he popped into the chat and he was like, somebody get the Googles. I was like, what are Googles? And then he sent a picture of goggles. And I was like, this is how fucking stupid you are, dude. I did feel a little bit bad, though, because when he brought it up, later in the dude hardly ever makes sense. But he was like, I don't give a fuck. You thought I was going to be in that league when you guys talked about my dead father? That wasn't you guys. Somebody did talk shit about his dad that doesn't know him and didn't know his dad had passed away. So I guess it wasn't the lynching joke. But I was like, I mean,
I backed him up right away when that happened.
Yeah.
Like, I sent a message. I was like, yo.
And when I got in the chat, I was like, yeah, Joe does suck. But I was like, hey, dude, his dad did pass away. Mm-hmm. And I was like, R.I.P. Pops. And then, like, multiple people were like, yeah, that does fucking suck, R.I.P. Pops. The dude's retarded, though. So restarted. And so, I mean, it's like, it's whatever, dude. When he was standing outside of the bar with Pedro, talking about him getting back into boxing and was talking about how tall and my weight I am. And I told him, and he was like, yeah, dude. He's like, he's real. The dude's like 5'6", 5'7". He was like, that's what I'm saying. I'd cook dudes in his class. I'm like, bro, but his dad had just passed away, so I let it slide. But I was like, bro, I cook this motherfucker up right now. Pillow Hands McGee is what I'm going to start calling him.
I think enough time has passed. Let's bring him back. Let's
Should we bring him invite him on the pod?
Oh, that'd be fire. He'd show up in a Raider. He'd show up in a Raiders outfit, dude.
We're gonna get some fucking clicks, bud.
Yeah. I mean, he'll go off. He's got shit he wants to talk about.
Yo, who's the guy? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Good.
Who's the guy that was calling out the podcast that you sent me the message to? We were talking about the big businesses taking small businesses. Sorry, Lolo. You sent me a screen. You sent us like a couple nights ago. You sent a screenshot, and you were like, "What's your response to this?" And I like kind of laid out like the myth of.
Oh, that was just like yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday.
That's Rhino. That's who we were talking about.
Oh.
Same dude with like the scientist lied about the pyramids and
the flatter.
So
that'd be fun.
I just
he wanted to be the dude. He asked about the producer role.
Listen, I think it could be lit though, but like
it would be insane. It would be like I'm not saying that it would be bad to have him as the producer, but I'm saying it could get out of hand quick, dude. He's deep in the conspiracies. Like,
when he was like, here's something for your podcast, I instantly read that and thought, if we say that on our podcast, we're going to lose all credibility from all our TikTok followers and all of our Instagram. Whoever follows us for that info, I'd say mostly TikTok followers, maybe YouTube as well. But it's like, bro, if we say that, they're going to be like, these guys are fucking dumb. They're going to be like, how did they not? No. He's like, here's the thing. Big businesses are buying up small businesses, but they're keeping their likeness and name brands. Yeah, no shit.
Who cares?
BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street. I mean, they didn't become as big as they are from not doing that. Like, this has been happening for at least 3 generations. At the least. that they've been doing this.
Yeah, it's just like, when does a monopoly come into effect on certain things?
Oh,
like,
well, monopoly's not real. It's a leftist myth.
Well, not that it's not real, but it's not like, okay, like those companies like BlackRock. Like, it's not just because they bought up small businesses. Part of it also is because that, like everybody knows BlackRock is tied in with government, right? Like there are certain companies that get benefits from the government, and then there's certain companies
because
that
they have
don't.
so much power from all the money and businesses they have.
Yeah, exactly.
So obviously it's easy.
It's like the idea of the Rothschilds, right? Like they had a lot of money, and then they were like the first ones to really like, okay, we're gonna put all our money in government.
But the Rothschilds own BlackRock.
I have some friends right now who, well, really just one friend, but he's posting a bunch about fucking the Rothschilds being taken down. He thinks there's a movement coming. And I'm like watching. I'm like, hell yeah, let's go, dude. Let's see it.
If there's going to be a World War III that I would support that might destroy the world we know, it would definitely be against, it would definitely be along the lines of going against people like the Rothschilds, BlackRock. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, it's like this. There's a super rich family, and what did they create? They created OxyContin, I believe. Don't like it. So, like, on my realistic hand, if I'm giving everybody moral benefit and believing they have morals, it's like if you created a drug right now that cured cancer, you shouldn't be allowed to personally own the patent for that. You shouldn't be allowed to privately own that.
Yeah, profit.
Because then you can do things like the dude that he was on with Shane Gillis, and he like owns like the biggest known AIDS medication, and he raised the price by like 500%. And Shane Gillis was like, yeah, that fucking sucks, dude. And the guy's like, well, I don't think it sucks. If you think about it in business terms. And it's like you're a fucking piece of shit, dude. Yeah, somebody should walk up on the street and shoot you in the back of the fucking head.
Luigi, shout out.
I'm just saying, dude. Like, oh yeah, but it's AIDS medicine and this is a business. It's like you're a piece of shit. So it's like that should be delegated to some type of government service.
You get a good payout. Like, you get like a very good payout, but then, after that, it's like you shouldn't be able to fucking just keep hiking the price.
Yeah. You discovered this cure. Now this is owned, but then the government.
But and you also have to understand, like, a big part of that profit that they're talking about is because of things like insurance or like, you know, grants or whatever. Like, I don't think
500% though.
Yeah, I don't think in a
big rise.
I don't think but like in a free, unregulated market, I don't think that they would just rake in all this money. Like, there's always going to be competition. And they rely, like, their business relies on buyers. So if they set a medication at a super high price that nobody can afford, they're going to be forced to bring it down because they're going to have created all this product and there's going to be nobody to buy it. So they're going to be forced by their hand. But then the government comes in and they have things like insurance, and then they basically are like, okay, we're going to pay you ahead of time for this medication. And then that way you still make your buck, and it doesn't matter if you sell it or not because you've already made your payday. Mm-hmm. I think we should just wrap up anyways. We're at the hour.
Yeah, I think so too. I've got to piss as well.
Yeah, me too. All right. Sorry, Lolo. We didn't let you sign off, but we got 2 out for you. We're good enough.
Fuck him, dude.
Fuck is real.
Masters Week next weekend.